What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Fish Aquatics. Today we're going to be talking about how to use the API Freshwater Master Test Kit. Alright guys, so the API Master Test Kit. This kit is my personal preference when it comes to testing my aquarium waters. The reason is the amount of money that you're going to spend on this kit versus what you're going to spend on test strips or other kits similar to this is much lower than those other ones, and it's a better value. So this kit costs on Amazon about 22 bucks. In a PetSmart or Petco you're looking at 30 to 40 bucks. But you can price match on their website and it'll bring it down to about 25 bucks. So overall, 20 to $25 you can get this kit for. It does say here tests 800 tests, but it does test for 5 parameters. So that 800 isn't each parameter, it's 800 divided across the 5, so you get about 160 to 170 tests out of each parameter. So compare that to some test strips. Usually the test strips come in 20 or 25 packs and they cost about $13. So in the amount of money you're going to spend on your test strips to get the same amount of tests that you would on your test kit here, you're looking much more money, probably $50, $60 if not more. So that's why I personally use the API Master Test Kit. Many aquarists prefer this kit, and it's a lot easier when you're testing your water with this kit. If you have any questions and you ask anybody, hey, does this look like an ammonia spike or anything like that, people are going to have an easier time helping you out because you're using the same kit that they are. So that's why I use the API Master Test Kit. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up now and show you guys what it comes with, what all's in here, and then we're going to go into how to use it. And I'm going to actually show you guys how to test your water using all these tests, and I'm going to be checking this tank here. So we'll go ahead and we'll open it up. And inside here you have your user manual, you have your 5 different tests, you have 4 test tubes. So the tests that you're getting here are going to be, let's see where we're at, pH, your high range pH. So your pH normally is 6.0 to 7.6, and your high range is, I believe, 7.6 to about, what is it, 8.8. And then you're going to have your ammonia test, your bottle 1 and bottle 2, your nitrite test, and your nitrate test, bottles 1 and 2. So those are the 5 parameters. This is all the equipment you get. This here is the user manual. It tells you how to use each one of these tests inside this manual. But I'm going to show you guys how to do it here, so this will just be reference for you. And here is your color coordination chart for your parameters when you test them. So basically the test tubes are going to turn different colors. You match them to this, and that's your water parameter. It's very straightforward and very easy. So I'm going to take this chart and we're going to set it back here for right now. And I'm going to go through and show you guys the bottles. So this is going to be your pH test. You put 3 drops of this per 5 milliliters of water. And all of these tests are on 5 milliliters of water. So I'm just going to say that once. I'm not going to say it on every single one. So you add 3 drops of this to the 5 milliliters of water. The next test is the high range pH. You use 5 drops of this. Your next test is the ammonia. So your ammonia 1 bottle is a much lighter yellow, and I believe this is 8 drops. And your bottle 2, which is also 8 drops. Your next one is nitrite. This is 5 drops. And your last one is nitrate. Your bottle 1 is the dark purple. This is 10 drops. And your bottle 2, which is also 10 drops. Right? So I'm going to show you guys a little trick on these test tubes. So these test tubes, they're 5 milliliters. You can see the little 5 milliliter mark right there. It's that line. Traditionally, you had to scoop water in and try and get it to that level, which can be quite difficult because, you know, leveling water in a vial in and out of your tank isn't exactly science, and it's not very easy. It takes a little bit of getting used to. But I found a way that you can get exactly 5 milliliters in here every time, and it's no trouble at all. All you need is a medicine dosing syringe. So you can go to your local pharmacy. I went to my local Wise Pharmacy to get this one. I just went up to the counter and said, hey, can I get a dosing syringe? And they said, sure, and they gave me this one. So What you're going to want to do is you just go ahead and get some water out of your tank. So we'll come back here, we'll get some water. You take the cap off of your test tube, and then you just put 5 milliliters of water in your test tube. Easy as that, 5 milliliters every time. So I've already pre-filled some of these test tubes here, and I'm going to set that one right there along with them. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to go through the tests real quick, tell you guys how to do them, and test the water of my tank. So the first one we're going to go through is our pH test. This one requires 3 drops of the testing solution. So 1, 2, 3. We'll go ahead and cap that up. Now you want to invert this one a couple times, and we'll set it on the side. The next one is going to be the high range pH. This one is 5 drops. Alright, so there's 5. We'll go ahead and we'll cap this one and invert it a couple of times. Set that one on the side. The next one is going to be our ammonia test. So there are 2 bottles with this, bottle 1 and bottle 2. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to put 8 drops of both bottles. There's 8 of that one. So we're going to cap the first 8 drops, give it a little bit of a shake to mix it up a little. And then we're going to add 8 drops of the second bottle. There's 8 drops. So you cap this once you have your second set of 8 drops in there, and you shake vigorously for 5 seconds. Give it a good mix, and we'll set that on the side. Now that test, you're going to have to wait 5 minutes, so set a timer for 5 minutes. And then you can read that test. The other 2 you can read right away. So the rest of these you're going to have to wait 5 minutes for each of them. So we'll go ahead and do the rest of them. This is your nitrite. Five drops for nitrite. Set that over here. Cap it. Shake vigorously for 5 seconds. Set that one here. And now the last one, and arguably the most difficult test there is the nitrate. There are 2 bottles for that. So both of these bottles, you only really have to shake the crap out of one of them, but I like to shake both of them. So before you dose these, you want to shake them. And the reason for that is when these kits sit on the shelves a long time, specifically bottle number 2, the elements that are in there separate, and if you do the test, it'll give you false readings. It'll either show that there's no nitrate in your tank at all, or it's going to show that your nitrates are through the roof. And it'll show over 160 parts per million, and you're not going to get an accurate test. So you got to make sure that you want to shake these up for about 30 seconds or so before you go ahead and do your test. That way you know everything's mixed well, and then you're pretty much good to go. So we'll go ahead and we'll take bottle number 1. Now both of these bottles are going to need 10 drops out of each one. Now with this test, once you get your first 10 in there, you want to cap this and shake this for 30 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so that way we're not sitting through the 30 seconds. Okay. So now that our 30 seconds of shaking that are done, we'll open up our second bottle. And we get 10 more drops of bottle number 2. Now we cap it again, and now we shake vigorously for 1 minute. So I'm going to speed it up again. That way we're not sitting through me shaking this. Okay, so now on this tank, not on this tank, on this vial we gotta wait 5 minutes. You can already see that the color has changed drastically, which tells me that this tank desperately needs a water change. The nitrates are already very high, but we've got to wait 5 minutes for it to mix properly and then get a reading on it. So we're going to go ahead, wait 5 minutes, and come back. Alright, so the 5 minutes are up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the camera, I'm going to zoom in on the test results, and I'm going to show you guys how to read them and how the tank looks overall. Okay guys, so here's my results on my tank testing. The first one we want to look at is over here. This is the pH. So that color is pretty close to the 7.6 that's right here on this test. And if we compare the high range test, that's pretty close to the 7.4 that's all the way at the top right here. So that tells me that my water is anywhere between the 7.6 and the 7.4, so probably around 7.5 is about where my water is sitting currently. If we look at this test here, a lot of times this one looks a lot greener than it actually is, just because of the lighting. So this test is actually showing that I have 0 ammonia, even though on camera it does look a little bit closer to the 0.25. That is actually 0, because if you look at it on the white background, it is yellow. Over here on the nitrite, it is a very light blue, which is 0 parts per million, so that is good. And over here on the nitrate, my nitrates are elevated a little bit. It's in the 40 to 80 parts per million range. So I definitely have to do a water change on this tank, probably about 50% water change. So I'm going to do that right after this video. Alright guys, so that's basically how you use the Master Test Kit. It is a very easy kit to use. It's very easy to read, with the exception of the ammonia one. Sometimes it's a little weird to read it. But aside from that, awesome test kit. It's going to tell you all the parameters you need to know for basic care of your tank. API also makes a hardness test, which I do have that, but generally I don't usually run that one too much unless it's on a planted tank that I'm really wanting to get good growth on. I got it to test water just so I knew how hard my well water was. Now, one thing you're going to want to do, speaking of well water, is when you get the Master Test Kit, you want to make sure you check your tap water to see if you're having any ammonia in your tap water or any nitrates. Some municipalities will add ammonia or nitrate to their water, as well as the chlorine and chloramines, for different reasons, right? So make sure you're testing that, because if you're having an ammonia spike in your tank and your tap water has ammonia, doing a water change to remove the ammonia from your tank isn't going to happen because you're reintroducing new ammonia. So make sure you test your tap water at home. That way you know what you have before you go testing your tank. That way, you know, you can check and balance. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know if you guys use the API Master Test Kit, or if you use test strips or a different test kit altogether. And leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of this, or if you think there's a better option out there. Personally, I use this one, like I said, because of the cost, and I have this many tanks. So the cost versus the amount of tanks and tests that I use works out for me better. So thank you guys for watching Trap Fish Aquatics, and I will see you guys in the next video.